Hello and welcome to a new episode of Blocktales Unchained Story. My name is Sarah Gottwald. I'm working as Managing Director for Blockchain Founders Group. And today I have Björn Jansen with me. So super happy to have you here. And maybe you can start with a super quick introduction.
Yes. Hi, I'm Björn. Pleasure being here. Thank you very much. Where do I start? I'm 32, living in Munich for 10 years now, and since a good 2.5 years or something, I'm totally soaked into Web3 and the beautiful world around it. And yeah, I think that's why I'm here today.
Nice. Super. That sounds great. So, as I said, we will always start with a question. How would you describe your Web3 blockchain crypto everyday life to your grandmother?
Yes, and I actually thought about that question for a bit because for me, my grandparents, especially my grandma, they do not use the internet at all. So it's this kind of generation, which is also nice. They're usually amazed if they receive a package by mail. So I would give it a little twist and probably explain it to my mom because she at least is able to use the internet or is using it very well, of course. And I would probably explain it to her, or I would jump into explaining Web3 to her by just differentiating it from, I would say, more stages of the internet. And I would say that in the 90s, when the internet started, she was able to read something if she went basically online by telephone. And then she was able to read text and maybe load some images on the internet. Then with the rise of Facebook, Instagram, and all those great social media platforms, everybody was all of a sudden able to write content on the internet. So now we can name this Web 2 and say people are now able to write and still read content. And then probably around or with the rise, with the start of NFTs, we can now say we can also own stuff, own a digital file. And now we can all of a sudden own a file in the internet because we can still write it. And that's what I would call Web3. So that's how I would differentiate by that. And that owning a file is made possible through a blockchain technology. And I would not dare to try to explain this to her.
This was the first question that just came up in my mind. As you said, you can own a file in the internet. And I would, if I would be your mother or your grandma or whomever, I think I would, how the hell should I be able to own a file? This would probably the follow-up question. But I understand that this might be a little too difficult to explain, at least in some sentences. So
she is a very good yoga teacher, but explaining a blockchain to her, we would not get along.
Understand. Okay, cool. So you already said that you started 2.5 years ago. And so maybe just out of curiosity, what was this thing that kind of catched you and where you really started your journey? And how did you get into the space? And maybe tell us a little about your story.
So I would also say maybe my first real or first time I got in touch with Bitcoin was during studies, but that back then I didn't really jump into it deeper. I heard about Bitcoin.
When was it approximately?
That was 2012.
Okay, wow. So it would have been the perfect timing.
Yeah, I wish, but it was. I remember a friend of mine from studying was like, I have a couple of Bitcoin here. What should I do? So we looked into it and we're like, I don't know, sell it. So hopefully he didn't sell, but that would have been the perfect time to go in.
I understand. Okay, 2012, crazy, but nice. Okay, unfortunately, was not your
no, didn't happen. Then I jumped into the startup world in 2000, I think 16, 17-ish. Back then, we had a little bit of a blockchain hype, I would say. And on almost every pitching competition, there was a startup having one slide with Bitcoin or blockchain, and they always won. So I got a little bit in touch, but it was always like, blockchain, no. So again, nothing happened, unfortunately. And then with the rise of NFTs, I would say all of a sudden it clicked for me, because the non-fungible token technology, which is based on blockchain, that just allowed to really identify one specific data, a piece of data, a file. And this, in our more and more online world, where we use the internet every day, to me was the game changer. It clicked in my mind, and then I jumped into it a lot deeper. Basically stopped everything else I was doing and only pretty much focused on what can I do with this. And then all this NFT craze happened, and
So one more question regarding your starting point. So was it more from a technological perspective that you really said, okay, I really want to understand it? Or was it also the investment perspective and, of course, the possibility of earning money? Or was it more because we have a new opportunity to divide things and to give people their power back? So what was the main reason for you to really start understanding and working in the NFT space?
I would say two out of the three you just mentioned, not the investment part, unfortunately, maybe. But back in, or at the end of 2020, I was playing around with the idea and working on it with a friend, where we wanted to create basically digital files verified by a blockchain, which kind of is an NFT. And we have been working on just this idea and playing around with it. He was or he is a blockchain developer, so he had the knowledge and probably pushed me into it and to learn about it even more. So I came from that part. Then the NFT craze happened, and unfortunately, I didn't see it as an investment. I always was like, okay, this new project is starting now. What are they doing different than all the other ones? Of course, back in 2021, everything pretty much sold out or minted out.
Had there been any kind of specific projects that had been like super interesting for you, or was it like, I'm interested in everything?
It was, or at the beginning, it definitely was. I'm interested in everything. How are they doing it? How are they building the websites? Why are they minting more than others? Everything around that. I even remember I've been on the minting page of the Bored Apes and looked at everything, had a look at the smart contract, etc. Just didn't mint, because I never saw or never felt like, I need to buy this. Of course, you learn by time, or at least when you look at NFTs, you think you learn by time, because then again, every time it's different. I bought into more and more projects, because of course I saw like, okay, I didn't mint those funny ape pictures. Now I have to get this and this and this.
So, and did you do your own NFT projects, or really do you have your own collection, minting and selling it, or just using the others, or trying to work with the other projects?
Yes, I do. I started one. I started together with a couple of friends the so-called Non Fungible Bavarians.
I've heard of them. So please tell us a little more.
Yes. So at the beginning, or where the idea came from, of course, we saw all those crazy projects minting out, and we looked into it, and we also found out you need a bunch of people and a bunch of knowledge to really create a project, at least a long-lasting project. And also we noticed we don't really have that kind of knowledge. We don't have the people. We don't have the power to do that. But we believed that more people had basically the same problems. So why not bring them together? And at the same time, we saw there is not too much happening when it comes to Web3 or NFTs back then in or around Munich. So we basically just tried to combine those two things and create a network for like-minded people that want to build on Web3 NFT blockchain projects together. And that's how the Non Fungible Bavarians came to life. It's a rather small project, I would say, but it was super interesting to create it and everything around it, from the art to the technical part, the smart contract, also the legal part, creating the website. Everything was really nice.
What was your part? So where did you focus on?
I probably did everything like a little bit.
Okay.
I didn't do the art. I also didn't write the smart contract because then we would probably have some big issues. But I was, on the whole planning and organizing level and doing a lot of the legal work, I would say, and all the preparations. I said, like, we are a rather pretty small community, so I think I definitely talked to every single holder, trying to get to know them and really just trying to get the people together.
And now, like, the project is fully set up. So where are you focusing on, or what are you doing with your community? How do you interact? Because you said it's non-fungible Bavarians, so it's really it's a focus regarding Munich. And so, what are you doing with your community and with your project at the moment?
Yeah. One little note: we are of course open to everyone, so everybody's welcome to join all the time. Yeah, okay. But the name is quite self-speaking. What we are doing is basically trying to get the people together. That's why we also started at the beginning of 2022, I think, starting regular meetups and just trying to connect people, like get them really to talk to each other, because that was one of the issue we faced at the beginning. And every time we do a meetup, we hear it from all the people that get there, that it's still an issue, that even though our space is rather small, there's still people you don't know, even though you live very close to each other. And that's what we are still trying to change. And that's why we are still doing meetups, etc. At the beginning, we always said we're going to do a business network. And we would still absolutely love to do that, but I think everybody in the fields of blockchain, Web3, NFT knows kind of how the market is going. Currently, we are rather in a bear, so not too much is happening, and rather less projects are just getting started. That's why we can also probably not fulfill the Web3 business network part at the moment.
But I mean, it's not necessarily super important that you only focus on the business part, because at least what I experienced is that, especially in the Web3 and blockchain area and community, business and private life is not that separated. So very often people, because like most of the people I know, if they started, and if they are now professionally working in the Web3 space, nevertheless, they started as a private, as an individual, trying to figure out everything, learning. And now, if people kind of switch to the Web3 space on a professional basis, nevertheless, they are, their private life and business life is kind of mixed up. So I mean, if you're bringing together people, there might also always be business options coming up. And so I think, I mean, I don't know what you imagine, but I think it's okay to not only have the business focus. So this is what I would say, but yeah. So
fully agree.
Sorry. Okay. So how do you in general see like the Web3 space in Munich or in Germany? Do you have like an opinion on that?
Yes, I think it's probably bigger than it actually seems it is. It's always funny, as I briefly mentioned, like you always meet new people, live in the same city or super close together, which work in the same field or are super interested in the same stuff, and you just didn't know, even though we actually think our space is that small. In Munich, we have a bunch of really nice communities. Obviously, the Non Fungible Bavarians. We have the Pretzel DAO. Twire is working on amazing stuff. Already here you have a bunch of communities formed, working on the same field or in the same field, all with their different tweaks, which is great. And I think the same applies to Germany as a whole. Like Berlin, definitely a lot of stuff is happening there. And yeah, or I would maybe also say like it used to be super friendly and everybody is super happy to meet new people. Maybe that changed in the bear market a little bit, because now sometimes I feel like it's a bit more elbows first or money first, but that's up to everybody as he likes to do his business or live his life.
May I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
I experienced the same, and I think it depends. If your personality is like me first, then of course it's something not that nice. But sometimes it is, especially, and I'm working a lot with startups, and they are experiencing like a super difficult phase at the moment.
Oh, yes.
And so they kind of have to think about their needs first. They have to put themselves first. Because funding is not that easy at the moment. The VCs are all super, they are waiting for doing their investments. So the current market situation is pretty tough.
Yes.
And maybe let's go a little back to the NFT space, because I think you're really deep in that space and you have a lot of knowledge. So I'm not deep in the NFT space, and of course I saw all the hype, and then the whole market was like crashing. But it was not only the NFTs, but it was also the NFTs, and I think it would be super interesting to see from your perspective two things. So, what do you think is like? How do you think the NFT space will evolve? And is it dead? I think it's a no. But what kind of new use cases do you see? Because especially from an outer perspective, it's still okay. There are pictures like JPEGs, but what is going on in that space? What is coming next? What are the real use cases where people outside of the space do not see or realize at the moment? I think this is something super important, and I think NFTs need to get they need to shift from only JPEGs to something bigger. And I think the technology definitely enables more things. But what are your experiences and thoughts on that?
Yeah. You almost answered that, I would say.
Really? I did not.
No, I also think it's not dead at all. Like the technology is gonna be or is here to stay, because we have so many options in our digital world with it. And at the moment, I think a bunch of really good and smart people and teams are working on it. And as a general, I think we are just learning. So we have a bunch of great new brands been created through NFTs. If we look at the Yuga Labs with their Bored Ape Yacht Club. Even if we look at Artifact, which is now part of a Nike, but also World of Women. So we have a bunch of brands that got a great funding by a highly motivated group of people back in 2021 sometimes. And they are now building, or at least we hope they are building, but most of them show they actually are. And where this is actually going, I think nobody knows yet. We have seen glimpses that are going to stay, like in the art space, because now a digital artist can now just create his digital art and actually sell his original piece, which is great, I think. But we are also seeing a lot happening when it comes to branding. And again, like the Bored Apes, they did a great job here. while the Bored Apes or Yuga Labs now go into the direction of a metaverse, like a digital world. With their other side, they are just exploring the possibilities and the options there. And on the other side, we maybe see an artifact which is going into a rather, let's say, a high-end fashion kind of metaverse something. So all in all, I would say, like, currently, or we're still super early, and everybody's just learning and trying to figure out what we can actually do with that. It might seem that even the big brands lost focus. If you look at Artifact, it got super confusing what they are doing. Now, since a couple of weeks, Yuga Labs is working on their so-called other side. Let's call it a metaverse thing. It also got super confusing from the outside. So I think that already shows
how difficult things
how
are.
difficult it is. But then we have also, I think, really easy use cases where we will be able to use blockchain technology, and maybe we call them NFTs. We can look at Starbucks and their new point system, which is completely based on blockchain and on non-fungible tokens, while they actually never mention it. So I think there are many options, but nobody knows yet.
Do you think NFTs are something for all brands? Like, should at least every company at a certain point think about NFTs and about the potentials of leveraging their reach and the potential to get a new possibility to talk to their clients or to be connected to their clients? Or do you think it's not for everybody?
So I would say, like, every brand should at least think about it, and then absolutely decide how they want to go with it. Because I would currently say not every brand needs an NFT or a Web3 or a metaverse idea or concept. But to say, now we're not going to do this because this is Web3 and all hype and boo blockchain or whatever, that's a mistake. Also, many brands are doing. So every brand should consider it. And if it makes sense for their business case, if they can really take something from it, then I would say explore it. I would also say you don't need to rush it, but really just try to jump in and learn step by step. Because also I think the community around NFTs and Web3, they are very forgiving. It seems like we forget fails rather quickly. I don't know. For example, just to me, it always seems like the Adidas project failed already 2 or 3 times. Now they started their new phase, and the whole space, or a lot of the people, are, "Oh, Adidas is back." We saw kind of the same thing with Porsche a couple of months ago. They started their NFT project,
And
everybody at the beginning was, "Boo!" They basically fucked up, or not gonna make it. And then they did some nice tweaks. They talked to their community, and they are back running.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's a learning process.
But I think this is a super important point because at the beginning, if failure, and I think this is something German, that failure is normally not that accepted.
Mm-hmm.
So if you, for example, if you start a startup but you fail, it's like, oh, sorry, you made it. Yeah, it didn't work. I'm so sorry for you. But to be honest, it's exactly the opposite.
Yes.
Because if you do something and you fail, you've learned a lot. And if nobody got hurt or there's nothing bad about it, then it's okay to fail. And so, to be honest, I'm super happy that you're saying that the current NFT community is kind of forgiving, because if we don't, it would be super hard to do new things. And I think, especially from an innovation perspective, it's super important to have the possibility to fail and still be accepted. I mean, Adidas and Porsche, I think they have positive, like, advantages because they are amazing brands, and especially in Germany, they are huge and people like them. So this might help them, but nevertheless, I think it's super important that you can make mistakes, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yeah. Those were some big brands, bigger examples, but there are many small ones too. And yeah, they just try this. If it's working, keep doing it, and if not, yeah, do the pivot and try something else.
Nice. That's absolutely fine and perfect. So, what are fields, or do you fields where you see a chance or a need for Web3? I mean, beside what we just talked about, do you have anything else in your mind?
To me personally, like I find e-commerce quite interesting when it comes to Web3, because also like just starting with a token gated website could keep out bots. You can give away stuff very exclusive to your holders, to your communities. You can, with NFTs, you could take your fans that you might already have to the next level and really create fans with skin in the game. Because at the end, if you do good, the price of your NFT or your token might rise, and so your fans, your community, your holders are also going to do good because they might make some profit. So in the space of e-commerce, I think there are definitely some nice advantages that we can leverage through blockchain. And
So, especially about e-commerce, I was already talking to Roy, so also in the podcast, and he said that so basically, I'm trying to tell you what he said, but he said like it's possible to sell goods directly, so you can sell the goods directly to another person, but the community depends on things like Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram. So your community is kind of caught in Web2, and it's hard to get those people. So you don't own your community. You can sell products to your community, but you kind of don't own it in a way that you don't have direct access to it. And so he said that this is something, not so nice, especially for the companies who want to sell something.
yes, yeah, it's there's also different approaches. Like you can do it already. Again, like Adidas is an example. They sold their NFTs, and then after a couple months, you could redeem like a sweatshirt and a tracksuit and a beanie from them. So they sold you the token first, and then deliver the product. And now, for example, like Flowers for Society, which
This
I
is the
just
company where
joined.
you are, I think, like since some days, right?
Yes, since like 12 days. Very happy to be
Great.
there. They sold sneakers. They sell sneakers. And if you buy a sneaker and you are already like experienced enough, you can hand in your wallet address and you are going to receive the NFT for free.
Ah, okay.
So this way, it's basically just the other way around, not selling the NFT, but it's a gift on top. And that way you can basically also create your little token gated community. And all of a sudden, if those NFT are worth something, because Flowers did such a great job in their marketing and everything, those tokens are actually worth real money if you decide to sell them. So now the company, the brand itself, has a plus, but also the holder or the buyer of the sneaker.
That sounds great.
And yeah,
Understand. Okay. And okay, got it. So sounds interesting. And so hopefully, so what's your role there? So what are you doing there?
I actually took over the Web3 lead, so I'm
Nice.
going to
Congrats.
do everything Web3.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yes.
nice. Okay. So, but I do have some one more question. Like, did you experience, so out of the context of what we talked about
Mhm.
right now, but did you have like any negative experiences in your journey? Basically, what you experienced?
Um,
If there's nothing, it's fine. But
yes,
sometimes it's
the
interesting learn from those experiences as well?
Getting scammed, definitely. And that's now super funny because now I'm going to mention Adidas as an example for the third time. I got scammed while wanted to mint the Adidas NFT back then. And that just, like, it's so unnecessary. And that's a very, very negative experience, I think.
Okay.
And yeah, like it's one click and your money is gone and you usually receive the NFT. And once I did the click, I already knew, oh, this worked too well. That can't be right.
But what exactly has happened? So how did you get to the wrong path? Or
yeah. So usually, and you can only preach that, really, really double and triple check every link you are clicking on. And if you want to connect your wallet, be super, super, super careful. And if you're unsure, ask somebody else. So for me, the mint was late at night. I think I was actually already sitting in bed and just on my laptop. And or as always, you basically start from the Discord. And yeah, just being in the Discord, I received a message, which absolutely looked official, like from Adidas. Of course, I knew like they would never, ever DM you the link, but it looked so. I'm in Discord, I'm in the Adidas channel. Okay, this is the link. Click, click, click. They rebuilt the whole page. There was, I checked it the days after. There was almost like no difference. And I thought I'm minting the NFT, but I was not. And then you just realize, okay, your money's gone, the ETH is gone. And then you realize there's actually nothing you can do about it. Because that's the beauty of the blockchain. But in this case, it's just the worst part of the blockchain. There is no way to revoke it, nothing you can do. So yeah, this was definitely one of my worst experiences. And since then, like I'm always trying to really preach to people to be super, super careful in that space. That's also how I got into writing actually a book on how to get into NFTs and Web3. In German, like
so you're still writing that book, or can we already buy it?
You can already buy it. It's on Amazon. It's basically a handbook for beginners. It's in German though, where I am really trying to explain the beautiful world around Web3, NFTs, and metaverse in as easy as possible German. And just giving a lot of examples and trying to get people to not make the same mistake.
Yeah, but thank you a lot for sharing, because I think it's super important to also talk about the negative side. And I think quite often people are like, and if you tell somebody like, you already said it in the Discord channel, people won't message you directly, and everybody knows it. But in this situation, you are in that situation. And I think many, many, many people would have done the same, because it's just so intuitive and you just follow the path. And this is just what we are kind of used to. And Web3 is really difficult on the security side.
Yeah.
And so and especially then sometimes it's only like super minor things, like, as you said, it's already late, you might be already in bed, you had a hard day, you're not 100% concentrated, you're doing things like already like the 10th or 20th time, and you have the feeling like, okay, I know the process. And if there's getting like a routine or something like that, and then you make a mistake.
Yeah.
And this is so normal. And I think it's a great example to share. And yeah, thank you for that. I think it's really valuable to think about that. And even for me, if I sometimes make like transfers, I very often do like a test transfer, like only
I always do that.
Amount. I mean, I've never, to be honest, to me, it never happened. But I mean, it also depends on how many transactions you're doing. And if you're doing a large amount, the chances are higher. So, but I'm always super curious and really checking everything. And I'm still stressed.
Yeah. I absolutely feel you. Especially, I don't know, then you make a Bitcoin transaction and it's going to take an hour, and then you're
Sometimes
just there.
longer.
Is it receiving? Is it receiving? Oh God, it's still not there.
I had, but this was already, I don't know, I think it was like 2021 for any reason. And it took, I think, 2 or 3 days. I don't know why,
Okay.
but it took that long. I was
Yeah.
like, and then I started Googling, so can it get lost? And I would, because I was checking and everything was correct. So I was like 100% sure that it can't get to a wrong address because the address was right. But yeah, and nevertheless, after I think 2 or 3 days, it really arrived, but it was like, it was really painful.
Finally. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. So I think we are already at the end. And yeah, it was super interesting. And we always try to close like, is there any like favorite crypto story like you want to tell in some seconds? Something like once upon a time, because we are Blocktales. And so blockchain and fairy tales. Do you have like a small story to finish up?
Super small story, maybe like once upon a time we decided to create or set up a beer garden NFT Web3 meetup in Munich, and all of a sudden there were like 40 to 50 people showing up, some driving up to 2 hours just to get there, and we were so amazed by the community and the feedback that this is my very positive end story, I think.
This is super nice, especially if you then get connected to those people and they really want to meet, and it's you who organized it, and that's nice.
Yes, that was really great, and we're gonna do it again this summer. So
Sounds good. So please let us know. So not only me, but maybe our community as well. And yeah, thank you so much, Björn, for being our guest and telling your story. I'm super happy that we had the chance to talk to each other. And thank you so much.
yeah, thanks for having me. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.